Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special edition of The Game Changer, brought to you by Shattered Dream Productions. I'm your director, Nate the Effing Great, and I'm being joined by the one and only star of this show. He is known as the Goldust fan, known all around here in Wisconsin as Mr. Nick. Wonderful to have you on the show.
Thanks for that introduction. I wasn't expecting you to play my music.
I honestly thought, you know what, I have Nick coming on here today, I have to play the Goldust deal, and I actually just remembered that there's a different theme song I have to play at the very end, just because of the fact that...
You're all right.
Just because of the sole fact, and let's just get right into it, because usually what I like to do when I have guests on here, especially wrestling fans, I ask, what got you into wrestling, what are some of the things that you enjoy about it, and blah, blah, blah. But we have a bit of an interesting deal here that has definitely been developing over the past few weeks, and I think we definitely need the answer to this. So, a couple weeks ago, you actually showed your latest cosplay that you were going to be doing for SummerSlam. And one of the things that you have definitely been known for is dressing up as Goldust. You've had interactions with Goldust, whether it's on video, whether it's pictures, stuff like that. This picture was not a Goldust-related one. It was a Constable Baron Corbin cosplay, and it even got a bit of a reaction from the man himself, the director himself, Dustin Reynolds Goldust. So, I gotta ask you, dude, why'd you jump ship, man?
Well, first of all, it's New York City in August. I probably would be sweating my balls off wearing that suit, walking around Times Square in that. And for that Monday, I got tickets to be in the studio for Good Morning America, and you have to dress nice. So I thought, why not dress up as Constable Corbin?
Well, I guess that makes sense. But obviously, like I said, it definitely got the attention of your boy, Dustin Reynolds Goldust.
Everybody's giving me shit about it, so...
So what has been some of the backlash you've been getting from this change in costume?
Like, even at WPW on Saturday night, Rufy came up to me, I'm going to call you Corbin for now one. I'm like, all right.
Well, as long as you don't get asked the question, hey, what's the specials for today, then you should be good.
So what was that?
I was saying, as long as you don't get asked about the specials at TGI Fridays, you should be totally good to go.
Yeah, I should be good then.
but oh, jeez, I got something almost going down the wrong throat. I'm okay. All right, so I gotta ask you about this because you're one of the few guys that I've actually met who's really had really close interactions with a WWE superstar, that being Goldust. So what was kind of the genesis? What started, this deal, this kind of, relationship that you had with Dustin Reynolds, a.k.a. Goldust?
He's just a very nice, laid-back, down-to-earth guy, and just how his character stands out from the others, just from the paint, the suit, and everything else. He's not your typical Finn Balor who just basic trunks and knee pads.
Yeah, he definitely is not. And obviously, he follows you on Twitter, is that correct?
Yes, he's been following me for about a good 3 or 4 years now, and we keep in touch here and there, interact on Twitter.
Wow, very nice. Does he still follow you after the whole Baron Corbin situation?
Yes, he does, surprisingly.
I'm actually surprised that Baron Corbin hasn't, put his 2 cents worth in there, but maybe he's just...
He actually jumped into the conversation after I tweeted that photo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he said that he's disappointed with me, Corbin replied, "Don't worry, man, we're both awesome."
Jeez. Oh, man, Baron Corbin, don't ever change. That is just absolutely amazing. I will ask this. After that, has Baron Corbin followed you back, or he's still kind of in the list right now?
Yeah.
Okay, he's still in the waiting list. All right. Well, you can't win them all, but hey, at least you still got Goldust. Obviously, change of costume will not change a 4-year relationship, so that's the good news.
And there's probably just a one-off thing. It's not going to be a permanent thing where you're going to see me at Corbin and Raw in Milwaukee, or I'll be Goldust by then.
Yeah, fair enough. I think you probably explain to Goldie that, hey, this is the situation. You probably understand since you've been to New York. And he's like, I can imagine him just saying, like, yeah, it really does suck when you have that suit on and it's like so many random weather situations.
Right, so you don't want to take a chance with it. It's not a cheap suit, I can tell you that.
Right. So I guess now I can get into the question of what got you interested in professional wrestling and what has definitely kept you continuing to watch professional wrestling.
We're just on those nights where I was channel surfing, nothing interesting on it. My eye caught Kane giving eulogy to The Undertaker like 15 years ago, that was now. And just got hooked onto it and trying to understand the stories they're telling with these promos and their matches, and I just kept watching it ever since.
Yeah, I actually do remember that. That was one of the creepiest eulogies I think I'll ever remember. But I just remember that being a part of the promo package, which would eventually be for Kane and The Undertaker at that year's WrestleMania. And the way that they just had those videos going up, it made it so much better. So,
and that was probably the spookiest shit I ever seen. Like the rain shook and the lights would always go out. It would rain on Kane.
Well, yeah, Undertaker definitely knows how to really just make any storyline really good. He could take any kind of chicken salad and make it even better into like chicken Caesar salad, obviously. But obviously, you've also had a lot of interactions with other random stars. You're definitely one of those guys who goes to meet and greets and gets a chance to meet some of those big-time superstars. Who has been one of your favorite guys to interact with other than Goldust?
Just name a few. Mojo Riley, very cool guy too. James Ellsworth, Bill Ziggler, Jeff Hardy, Miz. There's a lot of them I've met.
Is there any funny stories or anecdotes that you can give about any of those superstar interactions, or are they kind of...
I got good experience meeting them or a bad experience? I got a lot of bad experiences to tell.
Well, let's start on the positive note. Let's talk good experiences first, and then we'll go with bad experiences.
Alright, so here's another Goldust story. About 2 years ago, he posted a video for the Whooping Childhood Cancer Challenge where you gotta take a pie and throw it in your face. And you had to challenge somebody to do it. Well, he challenged the WWE Universe to do the challenge. And this was maybe 2 days before a house show in Rosemont. So I decided to have him do the honors to throw the pie in my face.
That's right, I do remember that. That was actually
the video's on YouTube, so look it up.
Yeah, that was definitely one of those really funny moments, because I was kind of thinking, like, well, what's going on here? It's like, oh, it's my buddy Nick. Oh, he got a pie to the face. Well, I mean, slapstick humor never dies.
Right?
So now let's play devil's advocate here. What's been probably one of your worst experiences with interacting with a superstar?
It's probably Jerry Lauer. About 3 years ago at the airport, he sees all my stuff and I want to get signed, and he accused me of selling it all. Like, no, this is all personalized for my collection.
Wow. So was he trying to play like the CM Punk card, where CM Punk accused people of just shoving collector cups in faces?
And it does happen a lot where you got people who will throw 15 or 20 8x10s in somebody's face. You go on eBay an hour later and boom, and there they are.
Getting back the, what, not even close to what they spent just to get that interaction with the superstar?
Like sometimes they don't even care, they just want to make a profit off their name.
Yeah. That's really sad. I really do hate when fans are like that. Just like I really hate fans who have been giving a lot of crap to Roman Reigns. I'm one of those guys that gives him a chance because of the fact that I know that he's a good wrestler. I know that he's good on the mic. It's just the way they've been booking him has been really stale and really bad.
Right.
But
And I hope I just want the belt off of Brock Lesnar. I just want a champion who's going to be there every Monday night on TV, work the house shows every weekend, and represent the company.
yeah, it's really crazy when you look at somebody like Roman, who is hated just for showing up every single day. But still, some people are like, "Oh, hey, we got Brock Lesnar," but now they're realizing, "Oh, he's not showing up every night." Yeah, let's get the belt off of him because now that thing just might as well be an edible wrestling belt that they pawn on WWEshop.com.
Right?
But you've also had a lot of interactions with a lot of people from the independent scene. Like, I know that I've seen you a lot for the Wisconsin pro wrestling shows. How long have you been a fan of those guys?
Well, I used to just randomly pop up once in a blue moon. Then maybe the past 3 years, I just decided to get hooked on it permanently. And if you guys are not going to the shows, you got to check them out. It's the hottest thing going in Wisconsin right now.
Yeah, a lot of the independent scene around here in Wisconsin has been actually really, really good. And definitely, I would say, very much better than the product that WWE has been offering. One guy who kind of stands out has been Logan Lynch. He definitely is one of those guys who is, he is definitely like a next generation superstar. He's one of those guys that I got the chance to interview, and he definitely is.
He deserves to be on NXT right now. He's just on fire with everything he's doing.
Oh gosh, can you imagine Drew McIntyre and Logan Lynch as a tag team?
Well, they do look alike a little bit, so I can see where you're going with that one.
They try to pull like a twin magic deal where they try to switch off. Honestly, that'd be it's just hilarious now that I think about it. Logan Lynch and Drew McIntyre doing twin magic in modern day WWE, and it'd be one of the best things.
Well, since we're talking about WPW, we might as well talk about their big show coming up in about 2 weeks.
Yep, that's right. Stadium Mania 5. Honestly, one of the most stacked cards that I've seen. I think it might be able to top last year's card, which, holy cow.
Hands down, it's gonna top it.
I mean, so many of the great matches on there. I mean, speaking of Logan Lynch, we got Logan Lynch versus Adam Grace in a 30-minute Iron Man match. Literally saying, hey, we're going to try and top Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins' Iron Man match, and I think they're going to do it.
That's easily gonna top it. Just the chemistry between Grace and Lynch is awesome, man. They can go on forever and people won't complain.
Yeah. It's really amazing when you can find somebody who just clicks very well with you, and I think that with Adam Grace and Logan Lynch, they have found that person where it's like, okay, we click, let's just beat each other up for about 30 minutes and see what happens. But, see, another matchup on the card, I think, is the Brock Hall and a partner of his choosing taking on the Rock and Roll Express. This will be a bit of a nostalgic feel here. I mean, you got, Mr. Reality himself, Brock Hall, and a partner of his choosing. Who it's going to be, I don't have guesses.
Anybody, really, so.
Honestly, it's one of those things where I've seen Brock Hall and Logan Lynch team up, but they was in a different company, and they worked very well. But obviously, since Lynch is working with Grace, Brock Hall is going to have one of those things where it's like, well, who's it going to be? It could be, Mr. Anderson. It could be Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It could be somebody on the roster that I might be completely missing, and I do apologize in advance.
T-Dub, if anybody.
Oh, you're right, it could. Man, I never really thought of that. But, I really know. Tag team titles on the line. I do believe it's the your boys, the Mad Dog Club Worldwide. Defending. Are they the ones defending, or are they the ones challenging for the tag titles?
No, they are the champions right now. They won them like 2 weeks ago in Two Rivers for the Bears Club. It was the rematch.
Oh, okay. And honestly, what can we say about Mad Dog Club? They are the it faction in Wisconsin right now. It's hard to deny them.
Remember when Nexus debuted on Raw and beat the holy hell out of John Cena. It's 10 times worse than that.
Oh, jeez Louise. I think that, yeah, especially with their leader, Ben McCoy, who's got a match with Mr. Jordy Lee in a dog collar matchup, which WWE, take note, you might learn something here. Definitely one thing I want to address was the video that he posted a few weeks ago, because you and I both kind of had the same reaction of like, what? Wow, this is new. Because literally he just goes on almost like a CM Punk rant where he talks about how, fans were kind of ungrateful and that they're only paying to see him and doing that kind of deal. I was like, whoa, where'd this Ben McCoy come from?
Yeah, Ben is really one of those guys who can cut a promo. He doesn't need a mouthpiece like Lesnar does. I think he's probably the best guy anywhere in the independents, at least in the Midwest, to cut a promo.
Yeah, he does absolutely amazing. And I remember it was a WPW show in Stevens Point. I think it might have been the second show. Yeah, it was the second show. And it was Real Brock Hall defending the WPW title against Ben McCoy. And after that match, after he won the title, it was just one of those emotional speeches where it definitely hit you home. He definitely knows how to, reel the emotions in, whether he wants to make you happy, make you sad, make you angry. Ben McCoy is definitely one of those guys you definitely do not want to take lightly when it comes to promos. And when you talk about his wrestling, well, let's just say that from experience, he basically told me that his chops are almost like getting hit with a crowbar. And honestly, yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, if you guys are interested, front row tickets are only available at the Stadium View in Green Bay, where the show is going to be. You can also get your general admission tickets there and online through Wisconsin Pro Wrestling on Facebook.
Very nice, very nice. Gotta love yourselves a cheap plug. Mick Foley all the way. So you've been a wrestling fan for about, I'm guessing,
15 years.
15 years, wow. So about a little bit over a year more than I have. Do you have a favorite match that has come to mind when it comes to all the years of wrestling? And I'm guessing you have the WWE Network.
Are you watching or anytime?
Anytime.
Probably Mankind and Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. That was really something else.
Yeah, that was something else. I mean, basically, you have Undertaker who's just like, okay, what are we going to do? And Mankind just says, just throw me off this basically 30-foot high cell. And it's like, okay.
They killed him.
They literally did. His face was all wrecked. His body was never the same. We knew he was going to be on borrowed time, but he definitely put his heart and soul into that matchup regardless. And it's one of those matches that I can look back and say, this is what I love about Mick Foley, because he definitely has heart, even though he's basically trying to kill himself at this point.
That's what people really appreciate about the business, that these men and women put their bodies on the line for our entertainment, and they'll just keep on doing it for, well, Mick Foley's doing it for what, 30 years now?
I'd say, yeah, 30 sounds right.
Yeah. It takes a lot of beating on your body after a while.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the minute he retired, I think it was like 2010, 2011. Can't remember which one it was. But it was one of those things where it's like, I'm surprised you've made it this long, dude. But thankful that, he can be healthy. He can spend time with his kids. He can spend time with his wife. Just let's not have you end up in a wheelchair, dude. So, obviously, SummerSlam is definitely coming up, and it's going to be a rocket buster of a show. I talked a bit about wrestling yesterday with Max, and we talked a lot about, what happened with Raw and with SmackDown. In your honest opinion, are you Team Blue Brand or Team Red Flagship?
I think I've always been more of a fan of the Blue Brand. Just the storytelling might be a little bit better, or the roster is more stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, easier to get through watching versus watching Raw.
Yeah, well, Raw has definitely got that 3-hour deal. And the sad thing is, they have so much talent that they can utilize, and they don't. They just think, okay, let's just throw this segment in here. We're going to make it prolong a little bit more. Oh, that's right, we got this person. Let's have them in for like a 3-minute matchup. It's like, no, you utilize your guys better. I mean,
you guys do the same 20 people every week. Why not throw Kurt Hawkins in the match on Raw or Alicia Fox, which I'm glad are finally using now.
Oh, yeah, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this episode is going to be dedicated to the memory and career of Alicia Fox because Lady Gold died tonight against Ronda Rousey. I'm sorry, but that's one of those things where I just look at that and I think, oh, no. This is like a almost half-year-long feud just building up ever since Alicia Fox had those comments to say to Ronda's husband. And it's one of those things where I'm like, oh boy, this is going to, yep, she's going to lose both her arms, she's probably going to lose both her legs. Foxy's going to be done at the hand of Ronda Rousey, and somehow...
They actually fight.
That is also true. I could definitely see...
Do you really think they're going to throw Ronda on free TV?
I think it would be a good build to SummerSlam, and it definitely would show...
It would, but you never know what Vince.
Yeah, this is also very true. I mean, we thought, hey, maybe we'll get Lashley versus Lesnar, but nope, we're getting Roman and Lesnar again. Oy, that... Right now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, if this is the last time they're fighting, give Roman the belt at least, please. Just, it should have happened at Mania, it should have happened at Rumble, but now it's like...
The thing is that he's only going to have that belt for 5 minutes before Braun Strowman or Kevin Owens cashes in on him.
This is very true. This is very true. So, you've also been to a lot of live events as well as you mentioned house shows. Has there been any house shows or events that have kind of stood out to you among others, whether it's storyline wise or match wise, anything like that?
Wow, that's a tough one. I've been only to have been a handful, and I remember maybe a little bit of everything from every show. The first one I went to was a SmackDown, and then a street fight between Eddie Guerrero and Bradshaw, and they just went all over that place.
Oh, jeez.
And that was the only time I actually got to see Guerrero wrestle live.
Yeah, I never did get that opportunity because I think my first event was the night after WrestleMania 22, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was WrestleMania 22. And,
SmackDown was in Green Bay shortly after.
Yep, that's right. I do remember that. I think that was...
Because they had a steel cage match with Bradshaw and Chris Benoit for the United States Championship.
Yeah, and that was... That was brutal at times, but then there was also points where it was like, oh boy, we're getting this, and that was of course when Bradshaw was doing that whole, yeah, I'm a great American, I'm the United States champion, I'm from Texas, and that kind of deal. I think that if he would have done the whole immigration deal with the U.S. title deal, that would have made more sense than him with the WWE title deal. But that's just me. It's the history's already been written, but. But I think one of the best shows that I remember going to was one of the recent shows that happened in Green Bay when they had, I think it was like the first build-up to Survivor Series. And I think that actually you and a friend of ours, Skylar, were actually there too when we saw Team SmackDown invade Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, that was...
That was something too. I'll never forget that. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
It was literally one of those situations where I was glad that I got the seat that I had, and I was just that close to so many of the people. I just remember seeing so many people just looking pumped, being ready. Also, that was the closest I've ever gotten to Bobby Roode, and literally, I remember his face where his eyes were just like super wide, and I'm like, oh, dude, that okay, that's scary Bobby Roode right here. I'm used to glorious Bobby Roode. I'm used to fabulous Bobby Roode. I'm used to heel Bobby Roode. But that's like scary-eyed, staring to your soul Bobby Roode. And then somebody, of course, made the joke like, well, he had to come from another country because they had to do the build-up for this. Like, this is true. This is true. And got a little bit of, what is it? I got noticed a little bit by AJ Styles. I threw up the too sweet, and he's just like, yeah, that's right, that's right. I didn't get a too sweet from him, but it was still one of those things where it's like, you know, I got a little bit of recognition from him. It was awesome. And I think that was also the first time that I remember actually starting to do the cosplay deal, because I think it was, you were one of the first guys that I looked at and thought, you know, this actually looks kind of fun. Let's just do something crazy with this. And that's when I first debuted the Chris Jericho deal for a Raw event, and that was awesome. But I need to really go back to those nights, to when you just see me kind of just standing there with the list of Jericho, kind of also taking pictures and stuff like that. Just where it's like, yeah, that's me. I'm right there, dude. Drink it in, man. But I think that was probably my favorite Raw, was that event, even though that was the last time we got to see Emma in WWE, which, oh God, that makes that makes me sad. But she's on to bigger and better things now. I think she's working with Ring of Honor, so.
Look at Cody, look how well he's doing since he left the company.
Oh, Cody Rhodes on the independent scene has definitely been one of the highlights of independent wrestling, and that's all going to really be the main thing everybody's going to be talking about when we have All In Chicago in just a few short weeks, guys.
They invented that show for the Young Bucks on their own money. It's not a New Japan show. It's not a Ring of Honor show. It's their show. It to sell out a 10,000 seat arena in a minute. That says something right there.
And I can guarantee you, Vince McMahon is probably seeing this, and he's just like, ooh, maybe this was not one of our better ideas. Maybe we should have let him beat Cody Rhodes instead of, Stardust.
Yeah, speaking of Vince, I wonder what he thinks about the Super Show going on at the Garden, WrestleMania week coming up this year.
Oh, that's right. I did forget about that, because I think they tried to. What was it? I think they were trying to cancel like a Ring of Honor show for Madison Square Garden, and that didn't work out. And then now, like you said, we got the Super Show during WrestleMania weekend, and it's like, Vince, you better have a good card ready for this, because these guys are going to be expecting the best from both sides. So, yeah, that's going to be one of those things where I'm like, ooh, more stiff competition. If Vince McMahon says there's not competition, you better take a nice little sip of reality and just drink in what's going on with All In and with New Japan and with Ring of Honor, because they are definitely opening eyes. And of course, even, some of the stuff that's going back here in Wisconsin. And one of the things that you kind of addressed to me was that it could be the final swan song for one of our buddies, Sadist, who is possibly going to have his final match at Stadium Mania. But you're probably there when the announcement was made about that.
Yep.
So what all went down the night that the announcement was made?
There was a confrontation between Colin Brooks and Sadis are going to have a match, and Sadis says, I'm not going to leave my legacy with you beating me. I'm leaving it as a champion. And I guess it was almost one of those things where the word got out, I guess, that he might be leaving, or what the whole situation is. ACW, he lost a match to Logan where the loser has to leave the company. So there might be something tied into with that, too, on him leaving WPW.
Wow. That is, that's some heavy stuff right there. I'm talking like almost heavier than Back to the Future heavy, dude. So that's saying a lot. And, I've got the chance to meet up with Sadis a couple times, had an interview with him. It was one of those things where you get to know the guy. He's awesome, but he's also very massive, and one of those guys who I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to joke around with him too much, because I know that I will I'll get killed by the sadist spear in a matter of seconds. And I actually did get the opportunity to watch Sadist become the ACW champion when he defeated Mr. Anderson last year, and that was a cool moment. That was a great moment for him, and honestly, it still has one of my favorite. What was it? My favorite independent wrestling moments where literally I think I was just like shooting off random stuff, and then Mr. Kennedy's like, "Shut up, Chris Jericho! I don't care what you got on the list, even if it's the raw ratings." And then Sadist pulls the mic. He's like, "Dude, that's not Chris Jericho. It's not. No, that's just Nate." He's like, "Nate, that's like the worst name that you could have ever." Or Keith, just to be fair. I was literally going to be like, great, so one of my favorite guys is making fun of me. But then he made the Keith comment. It's like, okay, all is redeemed. All is redeemed. So...
And Ken is really one of those guys that likes to joke around and have fun with everybody.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I remember, I think the recent show that I saw him was... I went by myself, and I actually had a couple friends take a couple seats that had extra. And I got 2 autographs from him. One for myself and one for my friend Max, who unfortunately couldn't make it because he wasn't feeling too well. And the first one that I did, I remember going through the photos thinking like, oh, which one do I want? Which one do I want? And I just remember his wife being there, and she basically pointed out the Aces and 8 Mr. Anderson photo, and she's like, oh, I would definitely get that one. And I definitely saw on Anderson's face, as well as, you know, the tone of his voice, he was like, yeah, that was not my favorite time. And literally I was like, you know what, we're doing that one. And I could tell just by the look on his face, like, dude, I kind of hate you right now. And he just writes down on the picture, he's like, Nate the effing great. Says who? And then I remember getting another picture for Max just to compensate the fact that he wasn't there, and he literally just said on there to Max, so glad that you're not here. Because I think I did tell him that he wasn't feeling too well, so he was just goofing around with that too. It was one of those things where I didn't know what to expect from Mr. Anderson. I think there's still a part of me that thinks that, you know, the wrestling characters are kind of the same to what they are in real life. I think maybe that they're just really good at acting when it comes to that. But meeting Mr. Anderson for
they got to try and keep this somehow.
This is true. And then, of course, you know, I mentioned this before. You imagine my surprise when I meet Mr. Anderson. He's one of the nicest guys. Met some other people like, you know, Zelina Vega, a.k.a. Thea Trinidad, when she was still at time with WWE, as well as Melina, ODB, a couple other people. They were just all super nice. And I'm like, okay, my perspective has definitely changed. And I absolutely loved it. It's
like that with a lot of people too that I've met, Matt. You don't know what to expect out of them, and it becomes a better outcome, and vice versa too. With a name I don't really like to mention, but
yeah, I think that there's also all these stories about how people have said, you know, well, this person is really good, but this person you want to avoid because they're not exactly, you know, very modest. I think people have said things about, as you said, you know, like Jerry the King Lawler, Honky Tonk Man, a couple other people here and there. But then you get a chance to actually meet them, and they actually are really nice people for the most part. Then there's some where you realize, oh, okay, these stories are actually true. Mental note, don't talk to this person. They're not on my list of people I like to meet. We're good.
Well, there could be a time where they're just in a bad mood, they're having a bad day, just don't want to interact, and there's times where they might be having the greatest day of the year and might be nice to everybody.
Well, that is also very true. Yeah, I guess it does always depend on the mood, but at the same time, you would think that they would try to, you know, be a little bit perky. I mean, obviously, a lot of us, you know, we don't like our jobs, but we still find a reason to, you know, still stay professional and still have a little bit of a smile on our face, be like, hey, how's it going? And then, you know, when we're all in little cubicle or little office areas, it's just like, I I need this time to vent. We're good. So I don't know but that's just my personal opinion. But you never know. So, oh gosh, I mean, well, you're going to be there for SummerSlam weekend. What's going to be going down for you? What are you going to be doing during that time?
Well, I'm going to be going to all 4 shows. So SummerSlam, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Oh wow!
I'm going all 4 nights. So I'm going to be in studio for Good Morning America and just explore the city and check out the 9/11 Memorial or the Statue of Liberty. Just anything I can do during my 5 days there.
Wow. That sounds like an absolutely amazing trip.
And the funny thing is, recently, I got a VIP meet and greet ticket for Finn Balor, so I guess I only have one option of who I should just have.
And like I said, as long as he doesn't ask you about the TGI Friday specials, you're good to go. But I think I kind of want that picture of just Finn. It's like one of those pictures where it's you and Finn Balor, and just tag Constable Corbin, just saying like, "Who says that these guys can't get along?" And then at the bottom, it's just him replying, "Me."
Oh, just wait to see the 4. It's going to be hilarious.
I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. Are you planning on going to WrestleMania when it comes to New York next year?
I do not have any intentions to go there at all during that time of year.
Oof. Yeah, I have some friends that are trying to coax me into coming into that, and it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? It's been going on for it's going to be 35 years this year. I think it's finally time for me to lose my WrestleMania virginity and actually go watch it. So I'm planning on going to see it. It looks like it's going to be a really good show, and it seems like everything would be all planned out if I had everything intended.
Like, I'll go again, but I rather prefer to be closer to home, like Minneapolis or Detroit.
You hear that, WWE? Bring WrestleMania back to this area. Bring it back to the Midwest. Minneapolis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit. Wherever you got to go. Bring it back here. We miss out on that. Why do we got to spend the money? Why can't you spend just a little money just to bring it here? Come on, man. Just give us something. Damn. But I will say this. One show that I'm surprised you didn't mention was that you're going to be missing out on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
And that looks like a really sad card coming up for New York.
Yeah, that's going to be an absolutely insane card. Even though Aleister Black is probably going to be out with injury, I think he's having surgery on either his leg or his back. I can't remember what exactly the extent of his injury was, but looks like he's going to be missing out on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Honestly, I'd still be okay with the Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano match, but if they added more people to it, like say EC3 or Velveteen Dream, make it a fatal 4-way, that would make it just as good. But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's kind of hard to pick, the right person to put in that spot, because Aleister Black, he definitely deserves his rematch.
Yeah, he does, and it might be one of those things where he comes back from the injury and boom, he's on Monday Night Raw right away.
Honestly, I could definitely see that, because he is definitely more over than people give him credit for on NXT, and he is definitely going to be one of those star-studded guys going into the main roster. My only thing is that I'm hoping he does not get watered down, because he has a character that is absolutely amazing, and just for the love of God, please don't mess up Aleister Black. You've ruined so many other people. Don't do it to Black.
I mean, there's a whole list I could give of who they ruined. Like, the revival, you don't really see a good story going on with those two.
Yeah, they're just finally giving Revival a little bit of some kind of momentum. And I love the fact that they incorporate the whole deal. Hey, we defeated Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley. We beat two of the top guys in the business. Where's our push? And they're like, yes, thank you. We're getting something. And then they defeat the Deleter of Worlds. I'm still okay with this.
But I would say I like what they are doing right now with Indian English after the way they buried him with Simon Gotch in Vaudevillains.
Oh, man. As soon as they released Simon Gotch, I was literally like, oh, boy, hidden English, what? You're going to be gone within like a year. And then somehow they pair him up with Rusev, and it's like one of the best things ever.
Right now, I'll probably say the best NXT call-up has to be Elias.
He surprisingly was. He's one of those guys who just was not doing so well in NXT. I mean, he had the wrestling moves, but the mic part was just kind of like, okay. But then as soon as he came up to Monday Night Raw, it was like something clicked and everything worked for him. People started cheering him. People started booing him. He started connecting with the crowd. Just absolutely amazing. And I will ask this.
For the guy to have a city out now, go along with a gimmick, that's just money right there.
Yeah, that's what an Elias needs right now is money and no championship wins. Come on, man. Give Elias some gold. Honestly, although, have you gotten a chance to listen to the entire album, Walk with Elias?
I've downloaded it the day it came out. I wasn't going to wait a second to hear that album.
I love listening to the album, whether it's the first song or the last song. I honestly think it's one of the best albums to come out this year. And I know that's saying a lot, but at the same time, it's Elias, and he knows how to do it. So sue me. So, obviously, when it comes to wrestling, there have always been ups and downs. And we also talk about, of course, some good NXT call-ups, some bad NXT call-ups. Now there's also this weird rumor going around that they might try to scramble some main roster people to NXT. I know they've done that in the past. I knew they did that with, I think it was Alex Riley for a while. Who else did they do that with? They did it with, with Husky Harrison. That's how he became Bray Wyatt. And they did that, I think, did they also do that with Ryback, Ryan Reeves?
That's his real name. He was Skip Sheffield.
Yip, what it do?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. That was one of the most comedic catchphrases I have ever heard. But then, of course, John Cena buries him with a Meow Mix commercial. Just, damn it. Oh my gosh. So, do you think that an NXT, I guess call it call down, maybe, from main roster to NXT would benefit people? Or do you think that's going to just interrupt the flow that NXT has going on?
I don't really look at it as a call down, maybe to redevelop a new character and bring him back to be more over. I look at NXT as a regular roster. I don't know why people look at it as a developmental system.
They look at it as developmental because, quote unquote, it helps develop new stars. It helps develop better characters and blah, blah, blah. Some of these characters have already been going on since the independent scene. I mean, Drew McIntyre has been Drew Galloway for the last few years. And even though you changed his name back to Drew McIntyre, I think a lot of people still look at him as Drew Galloway. And right now, somehow, I am stuck on calling him Drew Galloway. It's like, oh, dude, there's Galloway. Wait, it's McIntyre. Damn it. Sorry. But, yeah, I'm just curious on who they would even bring down. I know definitely a couple of the women they could probably bring down. God help me, why have they kept Carmella up there for so long, and now she's the champion, and just...
Ty Dillinger, you don't even see him on SmackDown at all.
Poor Ty. Oh my gosh. He was one of the best guys that they brought up to the main roster, and they squashed him in like a matter of months. Now it's just like, oh, hey, here comes a 10. Does that mean Ty Dillinger? Yes, it is. The only time he gets a really good reaction. One guy I definitely was hoping would be really good on the main roster, but they have not utilized him at all, was Mike Bennett. And I know people
I was going to say that too.
Oh my gosh. I loved his character in Impact Wrestling. I liked what they were doing with him and Maria when he came to SmackDown. After that, it was just like, well, they're not doing anything. It's like, there's still a character there. You could still utilize him. Honestly, like you said, if we want to have like a Kurt Hawkins deal, let's do that. And let's have Mike Bennett actually get a victory. How about that? Maybe he dedicates it to his kid. Why not? Give him something.
Instead of a dark match, come
What? I feel like the greatest love I'll ever know is seeing Mike Bennett win a title, but I know that's not going to happen because they're just not going to give him that spot. Unless they bring back Maria, which it's wishful thinking, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, what they're doing with, Miz and Maurice, they got a kid, but I think they found a way to make it work with them. Also, I think that it also helps that they have, Maurice's mom living there too to kind of help raise their child. I want to also ask you this: have you seen some of the episodes of Ms. and Mrs.?
Actually, I have not even started watching it, I believe.
Really?
It's one of those things. I know I gotta get onto the system and take a look at it.
I will say this: compared to like Total Divas and probably what is Total Bellas, this is definitely one of those shows that I find more entertaining. The reactions that Miz and Maurice have are very much feel realistic, and I absolutely love the chemistry that they have, not only with each other, but also the chemistry that Miz has with Maurice's mom. It's one of those shows that definitely makes you look at reality TV and like, hey, they can actually be entertaining. They can actually be fun to watch. I watched both episodes from the last 2 weeks, and I literally think to myself, this is awesome. I never thought I would like reality TV again, but I watched Ms. and Mrs. and it brings me back into the joy of it.
You probably don't look at it as a reality show. You look at it as a documentary of your life going on because of how good of a story they can tell with it.
You know what? That's actually a really good point. WWE Network, when you do documentaries, watch an episode of Ms. and Mrs. and you should take notes because this is very highly entertaining. Speaking of documentaries, I know that I don't know if it was like a mock deal or if it's still going on, but they had the Elias documentary. I think it was after Raw or something like that.
Yes.
And did you get a chance to see it? Because I have not gotten a chance to see it yet.
I have, and it's worth a watch. It's basically a build-up to him recording his album, his WrestleMania debut, and everything in between following it.
Damn. Yeah, I definitely need to watch that. I think I'll have to watch that after the show. Just because, A, it's Elias, B, it's a documentary about Elias, and C, it's Elias, D, it's talking about, like you said, the music, the WrestleMania deals and all that. And did I forget to mention it's Elias? Because I feel like I need to really preface this on the fact that it's Elias. So, I never thought that I would actually say that about Elias Sampson. Oh no, I said both of his names. How horrible of me. But
no one ever thinks he would get so over in this short of time.
Gosh, and he's been putting on some really good matches. I definitely would say his matches with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have definitely been career highlights for him. Even though they were in losing fashions, they were still really good and very watchable to where you're like, wow, this guy's doing really good. Why is he not a champion yet? Why is he not there yet? Maybe they're just waiting to pair him up with somebody to be a tag team contender. Maybe they're saying like, okay, we're getting to that point where he's almost to that point of being a champion. Who knows? But I know so many people are just like, why is Elias not Universal Champion at this point? It's like, you know what? He's definitely like 20,000 steps above Brock Lesnar. So, to be fair, I would take Elias as Universal Champion any day. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think that we are just about to run out of time, but Mr. Nick, I am going to give you the floor if you have anything that you would like to plug. How can people find you? How can people interact with you? Is there a way that people...
Find me on Twitter, NCWIAK, same as Instagram. Follow Wisconsin Professional Wrestling and ACW Wisconsin on Facebook. Get all the info on their shows. They put on some of the greatest shows and the greatest matches. You should all check it out.
Yeah, you'll definitely get a second notion about that with me, guys. Also, give us a like on our Facebook fan page. Follow me on Twitter as well. And, Nick, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this Summer Bash podcast event.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on here.
It is honestly a lot of fun having you on, and I'm looking forward to the next day that we can have a nice interaction, whether it's an independent show, whether it's a Raw, SmackDown, big event, whatever it may be. I'm looking forward to that deal where we just either see you as the Constable or you as Goldust. Whatever it is, it's going to be fun. And guys, thanks
for having me.
Yeah, of course. And guys, like I said, be sure to check out Stadium Mania, which takes place on October 24th. Information will be posted up on the Facebook fan page, so that way you guys don't miss out on anything. Also, ACW has their anniversary show next month. Also, in October, WPW also has an October-themed event going on that's going to feature Mr. Anderson, so definitely check that out. So for Nick, I have been Nate the Effing Great. You have been listening to The Game Changer. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.